On our morning show today from WRCO, Richland District Superintendent Steve Ward is our guest. Back to talk about so many things. It seems like we just started talking about get your year-end stuff and your kickoff and your little banquet you had before the school year started, and here we are in the last month of school, Steve.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, Phil. Good morning, by the way. But, as I was driving here from the school district, I was kind of just reflecting on, like every month they're coming over here, and it wasn't that long ago we were talking about super registration, and I'm thinking about the weather. Like, okay, we had some good days in the fall, and then we had some really rainy and dreary days when I've come over here. A couple of them were snowing, but I looked outside today, and as we were sending our students away at the champion games today in basketball, I'm thinking, what an absolutely gorgeous day. Like, it is just truly a perfect day for anything you want to do. You want to get some gardening done. You want to be outside. We got baseball games tonight. We've got the champion games. And so as I was driving over here, I'm thinking, like, I don't know that I've drove over here in a day that is just as beautiful out as it is today. It's just absolutely fantastic.
It is. And the champion games, that's certainly a spectacular event, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, it is such a great event for our students with special needs that go down to basketball. Basketball just does an outstanding job. We've been going down for several years, but I'll tell you, and I'm going to give a shout out to Nikki Toney and all of our spec ed staff, but Nikki has really taken this as a project of hers in the last few years. This is just elevated to another level for students in our district. It's gone from what used to be primarily a handful of kids in the 9 through 12 building to now a district-wide event. I believe we're sending close to 150 students and another 35 to 40 staff members down. Buses are lined up at the high school going to the other buildings to pick up the students. I think we ended up with 4 or 5 buses going down to basketball today, and these students are going to get a chance to compete in various outdoor events and various activities, and the kids are excited. The smiles that are on their faces for the kids that are going down there today, and there'll be equally as many smiles coming back. I'm sure they'll be exhausted as well. It's a big day for them. It's a lot of stimuli, but boy, just an incredible day, an incredible event held by one of our neighboring school districts. Again, shout out to basketball for putting this on. It is just absolutely fantastic opportunity for all of our neighboring schools. But I know the Richland School District has really embraced this opportunity, and again, to send that many students down today is just going to be fantastic. And again, what a beautiful day for it.
Yeah, no doubt. Some end of the year dates, that's kind of one of the first really big ones here in the month of May, and there are a lot to come, aren't there? Boy,
there are, and I know that I'll never get an opportunity to tell them all, but some of our really big things coming up. The champion games, of course, are today. We've got our non-monetary awards on Friday, May 23rd, starting at 9:30 a.m. at Richland Center High School. This is a big day. We think about scholarships and graduation. I'll talk about those in a little bit, but non-monetary awards are equally important. This is a day for our high school to give awards to our students that don't necessarily have cash value to them. They're recognitions. They're all of the things that they've done, and our kids are involved in. Our students, they're not kids anymore. They're young adults, but our students are involved in so many great things, and this is an opportunity for them to get recognized, and they're getting recognized in front of their peers, right? And all of the things that they're doing, from being in one of our many clubs to taking on a leadership role in student council to academic honors to athletic honors to anything, and not just honors but participation. And when they do these things, and they have all of the kids that are in band and choir stand up, and literally 2/3 of our student population is standing up. It is just so impactful to see the number of kids that are involved in things. And I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, at the end of it, the principals had, at the very, very end, everybody had been recognized. Every student who was recognized, and they just started going through. If you were in band and choir, stand up, stay standing. If you were in a sport, stay standing. If you were in a club, stay standing. And by the end of it, literally almost every kid in our school district was standing up, in our high school anyway. And so the involvement that they have, one of the other neat things that happens at that non-monetary awards is the announcement of the Mackenzie Schwerman Scholarship. It's really the only monetary award that takes place that day, or the announcement of it. Mackenzie Schwerman Scholarship was started a few years ago. It runs through our foundation, and the whole intent of that scholarship, it's a $5,000 scholarship to a student, and the whole intent of it is not based on financial need, not based on academics, not based on involvement. It's about being a good person. And so our teachers over the last 30 days or so have been going through a process where they've been narrowing down the pool. Every homeroom teacher nominated a couple of students from their homeroom, and then the staff voted on it, got it down to 20 students, and then they re-voted and got it down to 10, and then voted on those. Anyway, long story short, they got it down to one winner, and that will be announced on the 23rd. And that is a really, really cool moment. Obviously a substantial amount of money that goes to help their post-secondary, whatever that is that they're going to do. But I just think it's such a neat thing and such a generous commitment from the Mackenzie Schwerman family to donate $5,000 every year to a student for just being a good person, right? And we could use more of that in our society, and it's a neat thing. Our student body embraces it because these are students, the recipients of these are students that our student bodies recognize as top-notch individuals as well. Like, they're doing the right thing, not only when people are looking, but when people aren't looking, right? And our students recognize that. So that's a big day. Again, May 23rd, that's a Friday morning at 9:30, non-monetary awards. Families are welcome, public is welcome. Our student body, of course, will be there. And then on Wednesday, May 28th, the following Wednesday, starting at 6:30, that's our monetary awards. That's when all of our scholarships, all of our community donors, our foundation scholarships, those that are funneled through the foundation or individual, they're all there. It's a really, really nice program. Many of our students, seniors, are getting scholarships. In fact, most of the ones that don't get them simply didn't apply. And so we're always trying to encourage students, just take the time to apply. There are so many great opportunities and so many generous people, and some of those scholarships are fitting specific niches, and having you got to go into a secondary education that's doing this, and maybe it's welding or maybe it's ag or whatever. Some of them are more general. Some of it is just attending school anywhere, whether it's a tech school. Some of it might be going into the armed forces. So lots of different scholarship opportunities our students are going to be receiving on the 28th, and then it all culminates with our graduation ceremony on Sunday, June 1st. And so that is at 2 o'clock. There are tickets that folks can get. Each senior is allocated a certain number of tickets. If the public is interested in attending because they've got a connection, I would encourage them to reach out to the high school office. But 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, traditionally we have tried to do the Memorial Day weekend. The last couple of years, the calendar has been such where there's just too many days after Memorial Day weekend. So I want to make a point out that it's not Memorial Day weekend for our graduation. It's the Sunday after, June 1st, starting at 2 o'clock. Hopefully we get an equally beautiful day. I know regardless of the weather, it'll be a special day for our graduating class of 2025. And so those are some big dates. And of course, between now and the end of the year, we have so many students that are off doing great things, academic things, fun things, enrichment opportunities. We've got field trips going on. One of my goals this year going into the school year was I asked our administration, let's get every single one of our students to get an enrichment field trip. And I'm not talking just a fun field trip, right? That's the end of the year stuff. But to get some sort of an enrichment field trip, something academic related, maybe it's science-based, you go to the Cave of the Mounds or the Kickapoo Valley Reserve or something like that. It can be fun, right? Because learning's fun if it's done in the right fashion. And we were able to do that. I think every single one of our students were able to get an enrichment field trip. Now they'll be kind of doing the fun things at the end of the year, culminating with the last day of school on that Wednesday, June 4th. That would be a day for our students to celebrate the great successes of the school year and turn them off to the families for what will be fun for the families for the first couple of weeks. And then about June 20th, they'll be like, when does school start again? But it's a great break for our students and our staff, and it'll be really good. So very excited about the end of the year. Just a lot of really, really great things happening.
On a recent show, in fact, Carrie Stoltz brought down Jeff Behrens and some of the seniors, but some awesome senior band members, and I know they have an event tomorrow at the high school, too.
Yeah, there are so many different events going on with our end of the year concerts and baccalaureates in there, and band concerts, choir concerts, not just at the high school level, but at the elementary levels and the intermediate school levels as well. Again, I don't have them all. There's probably something going on literally every night, Monday through Friday, between now and the end of the school year, between all of our activities and academic events and co-curricular events. Just an outstanding opportunity. And I would encourage any of the public, right? If you've heard some of the great things that are going on with the Richland School District, maybe you haven't been up to something lately. Maybe you've left and come back. Maybe just your kids are gone, but come on up to one of those things. Watch our students. Watch our performances, whether it be an outdoor athletic event, a softball or a baseball game or a soccer or whatever, track, or if it's a performance, right? Come up to the band concert, come up to scholarship night, come to graduation, come to these things and watch our students in action. And I think you'll be very proud of the product that the Richland Center High School is producing.
Well, it's really inspiring, if you haven't done that. I mean, and I think sometimes we get thinking, well, what's the future hold? I think it's a bright future when we see some of these young people and what they're accomplishing.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's so easy in society to say, well, this generation, they don't work as hard, they're not as dedicated, and I don't know that that's really true. I mean, I think throughout history, there's always been certain ends of the spectrum, right? The people that are they work too much, right? And then the people who maybe don't put enough time in. But the students that are coming out of Richland Center High School, these are good people, right? They are really, really good, fine individuals, work hard, they're academic focused, they're trying to do the right things. Are there exceptions on either end? Absolutely. That's true for any area of life. But to your point, come on up, and I think you really will be inspired if somebody does that, because we really, really have some great people. We have great staff, we have great students, and that's just not smoke, right? That is legitimate and sincere and genuine. That I couldn't be more proud of the folks that have been coming out of our school district as graduates and the great things that they're doing post-secondary.
Maybe you'll be inspired to be a member and serve on the school board. There's a vacancy.
Yeah, what a great segue. Yeah, that's awesome. Sometimes people get on the school board because they have an agenda. Sometimes they get on because they want to serve. We have an opening, right? And so we have an at-large opening. Robin Dickman on the 14th of April at the board meeting turned in her resignation so that she could pursue an employment opportunity with the school district. And we're happy to say that's happening. That's great. She's going to be employed by the school district. And of course, state law says you can't be a school board member and employed by the school district. And so she made the choice that she would rather be in the classroom. And that created this vacancy on our school board. She holds one of our 7 school board member positions, and she is an at-large position, so it's not bounded by where you live. Anybody that is a resident, at least 18 years or older, a resident of our school district boundaries, not the city of Richland Center, but our entire district residency, can apply for that. But the big thing is the deadline is today, right? And so if someone is interested in being on the school board, this is not an election, this is an appointment, because it's a vacancy that's created midterm. They would fill out paperwork. They would need to come up to the district office, fill out paperwork. Laura Steele can help them fill out the paperwork, and we can get it signed and back into the office here by the end of the day today. Our district office closes at 4 o'clock this afternoon, so it would have to be in by then. But then what would happen is any of those interested participants, and right now we have one, Jill Sharp has turned in her paperwork, so any of the interested candidates will show up on Monday night, May 12th, at our next school board meeting, and the last agenda item is the interviewing of potential candidates. And so it's a very simple process. Candidates would get a chance to come up to the microphone. The school board would ask, just a handful of questions, same questions to each person, and then they would vote if there's more than one person, and they would appoint that person to the school board, and then they would take that seat at the June 9th meeting. And so if there is anyone interested in doing that, this is a great opportunity to do so, because it's a way for somebody to not have to go through the election process, right? It's an appointment process, and they're not really committing to a 3-year term, because whoever this is elected there, they are appointed in the coming weeks. They will then have to run for election should they choose to rerun next April. And so this is a great way for them to get, a little less than a year. Make that commitment. A little yet less than a year. We have school board meetings on the second and fourth Monday of each month, unless there's a holiday like there is in May. We don't have one on Memorial Day. And then there's one night a week where we've got committee meetings. It's typically the second Wednesday of the week, of the month. And so outside of those three regularly scheduled nights, there's a couple of nights scattered throughout there where we may have a special board meeting or something like that. But I think people think that it's this huge time commitment and there's meetings all the time, and that's not the case. Our meetings are very efficient. Aaron Umbihan was reelected as our board president. He runs very efficient meetings. Our open sessions are typically right around an hour right now, drastically reduced from where they had been. Our closed sessions are drastically reduced as well. A lot of our work is being done at the committee level. So again, I guess I think this is a great opportunity. If anybody has ever really considered running for school board, this is about the perfect situation, because it's an at-large bid, like I said, so anybody who resides in the school district is eligible for this, as long as they're 18 years or older, and it's a short commitment. And then you can determine if you are like, I really, really like this, I'm going to run for re-election next April, or I tried it, this wasn't for me, I'm not going to. And there's really no harm, no foul when it comes to that. So I think it's a great opportunity, but the deadline is today. So folks would have to come up to the district office here today, get that paperwork filled out. It's a pretty simple process, a 5 minutes or so, and have to have that done by 4 o'clock. And we will need a notary. Okay, and so our notary is out today, and so we will want to allow for a little bit of time if we've got to run down to a bank and get that notarized for it to be official. So, but again, a great opportunity and to serve on our school board and be a part of some of the really, really great changes that are going on, because decisions made at the school board level, that is really a reflection of our community's vision of our school, and they're setting outcomes, right? They're setting, this is what we want our school district to look like, and then they task the administration to carry out those outcomes and figure out how we're going to get there, right? And then lots of great things happening. We've got lots of great alternative education options. We've got lots of great things going on co-curricularly, lots of great things going on academically. We've talked over the last year about, we've improved from 32nd in our CISA to 21st to now 9th academically in our CISA. We're trending in the right direction. We're making huge strides and just a really, really lots of positive vibes going on in the Richland School District. So I'd encourage someone to be a part of it.
What about the concession stand? Is there an update on how that's going?
Yeah, it's we're getting bids right now. We're working with our insurance agency and our adjuster. They've got a price that they are saying that this is what it's going to cost, and of course, trying to dot the I's and cross the T's, getting them in connection with our construction company. Nexus is helping us facilitate that project, and once they can all agree on terms and dollar amounts on what's going to be covered and what the claim is and what they'll be able to do, then they can get after it here. So we're hoping that in the coming weeks we're gonna have all of that solidified. It's a little slower process than what I would love, but it is what it is. And our big push is that we want to make sure that thing's ready to go by the middle of August, when we're going to start having home events with boys soccer and football and different things going on at that facility. We want to make sure that we've got our concession stands open, our restrooms open, our storage rooms available. It's been cumbersome this spring without it, and to the general public, it doesn't necessarily look like there's a lot of things happening, and there isn't necessarily physically to the building. A lot of that back end stuff is getting done right now, and it's a slow process, but it's an important process, and in the end, we'll be able to move pretty quickly.
I just store some things in a shipping container, I think, and kind of get some things out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had a lot of track equipment. We did have some things that were damaged, and so we got the okay to replace those, and so they've had starter blocks and things like that available for the track. A lot of the other stuff has gone to either our storage shed, or we have gotten storage containers to try to store things in, try to get that stuff out of there. The damage was severe, right? Especially up on the roof. There's wood rafters, and so they've got, they're structurally, it's, no one can get up there. That's a difficult thing right now because they have to make sure what actually is intact and what is structurally compromised. And so people way smarter than me are trying to figure that out. And again, as they get all of that done and the engineers get it done and we dot the I's and cross the T's on the price, then hopefully we'll be able to get things going. The good thing is that they're telling us that for the most part, once we're able to actually start the demo and then the construction of it, it really shouldn't take that long because the foundation of the building itself has not been compromised, or at least they haven't found anything at this point. Nothing from a sewer, nothing from electrical, nothing from a foundation standpoint. So ripping off the top, I know it sounds like a big deal, but putting wood rafters up there and getting new sheathing and shingles up there, I think once they get going, it'll happen pretty quickly.
Great. Steve Bourne is our guest, talking about all the great things going on in the Richland School District, and we will have more after these words during the morning show get-together today. The Richland School District, our subject on the morning show today for a Friday. Glad to have Superintendent Steve Bourne in the studio with us today. I know you wanted to spend some time talking about alternate education and some of those updates, and I think it's been another good year with some of those programs, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has, Phil. And we've talked several times here, but I think this is a good opportunity to let people know where we're at right now with all of it. So, we've had the partner school going. That has been a fantastic opportunity for our students. We intentionally grew that slow. Next year, we're expanding that to about 45 kids. There's going to be a lottery coming up in the near future. We should have spots for people that want them. So if folks are interested in the partner school, it's still an opportunity for them to inquire about that. And that's a project-based learning center held at what was formerly known as East Hall out on the west side of town, the east part of the campus. And so folks can still, look at that, again, 9 through 12. So that program has gone really, really well, a good community connection, a lot of job opportunities and workforce connections that are made there. But then some of the new things that we started this year, or will be starting for next year, that are new. One, we've completely revamped our online academy, what used to be known as ROA. We're now reframing that as the Hive. It used to be a grade 6 through 12. The Hive it's a home-based, that's the H. It's instructor facilitated, which is the I, virtual education, which is the V and the E of Hive. And those are all really key components to what we're trying to do. In the old days, ROA was a student would get a course schedule, and all of their instructors would be online. They would communicate with those instructors. They're not in Richland Center. They're not in the Richland School District. They're spread all throughout the state of Wisconsin. And those students had very little opportunities to get additional help or even someone to talk to. We did have somebody assigned to that could help, and they did a great job with it, but just wasn't accessible enough. And so a lot of our students struggled as they tried to transition to an online or a home-based education, staying on pace and doing time management skills. So we knew if we were going to do this, we needed to have a mechanism in place to help those students be successful and not fall into those traps. And so what the idea was is this past year we trimmed down the ROA to where only a handful of students are in it. We only have 12 students enrolled in the ROA right now. And this will be the last year of the true ROA. And now next year we'll be moving to the Hive, this home-based instructor-facilitated virtual education. This is a K through 12 opportunity. And it's not just online learning, it's home-based learning. And so we modeled this after NACUSA. Dr. Johnson and I spent a lot of time talking to them and the number of students that they service in this manner. This is an opportunity for students to do school at home in a variety of different ways. It doesn't just have to be online. Okay, and so our community has a very robust homeschool population. We have families that want to be very involved in their school's education. The parents want to facilitate that education. That's fine, right? And this would be an opportunity for them to join the Richland School District, still do that. A parent can still facilitate the education, but the school district would purchase the curriculum for them. So if there's a win for the home-based, those that are currently homeschooled, they don't have to buy the textbooks, they don't have to buy the curriculum. The school district would purchase that for them and then be a resource for them. We have what was going to be one instructor that was going to facilitate the education, connect with the families, make sure that students are staying on pace. If there was somebody that had a question about, fourth grade reading, that person would assist. When we did the interviews, we had two outstanding candidates that we're ultimately making a recommendation to the board on Monday to hire. One will primarily focus at the K through 5 level. She is an exceptional teacher at the lower levels, has a lot of experience in home-based instruction and virtual instruction at the lower levels, and the other will primarily focus on the upper levels. And again, their strength is combined with that. It worked out, maybe just a little bit of a tangential story here. It worked out because we've had the Community 4K program going on at what was the Rockbridge School is now Bethlehem Lutheran Academy. That was kind of founded by that church. Pastor Dan Lewig and his wife Amanda Lewig was the Community 4K teacher. Okay, and so they had a handful of students. We had a partnership with them, with that academy. They were part of our school district. They did public school in the morning, and then if children wanted to stay in the afternoon, they could do faith-based components that was not connected with the school district in the afternoon. But Amanda Lewig was really the reason that thing was successful. She was an outstanding teacher, a Cole Award winner, just really, really, really good teacher. Pastor Lewig got a call, and so he and Amanda will be moving to the Janesville, Milton, Monticello area, and so the Community 4K program is going to be dissolving. There just wasn't the need, mutually dissolving. There just wasn't the need that we thought there would be, and so both parties are kind of mutually stepping aside from that agreement. But with that, opened up an opportunity for Mrs. Lewig to maybe rejoin our district in a different capacity. And so Robin Dickman and Amanda Lewig, again, be official on Monday, are being recommended for this Hive program. Amanda really focusing on the younger students, Robin focusing on the older students. And we think we're going to have a really, really rock solid program as it comes to home-based, not just virtual, but home-based education. And so, Phil, if you had a child that was in third grade, and you were currently homeschooling them, you could now be part of the Richland School District, and you could get your curriculum purchased. You could still do any faith-based components that you want to do outside on your own as you're facilitating that. We couldn't necessarily purchase those things. But if you had a question about, hey, I don't really know if my child is on pace when it comes to reading at this level, are they where they need to be? Now you're going to have resources available within the school district to be able to do the testing that we would do and be able to do the assessments that are there, to be able to know if your child is on grade level, not on grade level. We can also help facilitate resources. So maybe where you had access to this particular textbook, now you might have to have access to multiple textbooks and multiple platforms and subscriptions to iReady and Acellus and all of the different online components that might be. And so your child now may be able to not just be limited to one curriculum or one pathway, but could have access to several of them, and maybe does one thing for reading and another thing for their math and another thing for their science. And that can be true for a third grader, a seventh grader, a 12th grader. And so we're going to have these options available, and it will look a lot different than what our old ROA model looked like, where everybody just did the same thing. Now it's really going to be catered and tailored to what that student needs. Some students do really well in a Chromebook and virtual based. Others can't. They have to have a textbook. Some may need a combination of the two. Some may need a platform, but not the platform that we've offered in the past. So we're going to have access to a plethora of different resources for these people, and our facilitators, our teachers, Amanda and Robin, will be able to help those families, help those students stay on pace, check in, have a go-to person for them to connect with. That's the instructor facilitated part, for them to be able to go to so that they don't fall behind and that they are able to be successful. Because the flexibility that the home-based or virtual education gives students is huge, right? If you want to work, you got to do some things on the farm, you need to help around the house, you need to do whatever, you need to take vacations. It allows people to do that. But by the same token, there's got to be a mechanism in place to make sure that you're not falling behind. We don't want, fifth graders to be reading at a third grade level. And so we've got to have a mechanism in place. And we think we've got the best of both worlds. Again, we've stolen this. We've taken this from the Nakusa School District. They've been a great resource. But we're able to now offer that. And it's really going to be a win-win. And I've talked to two administrators here just in the last 3 days, one on Wednesday, and then Liz Perkins here this morning. We were talking on the phone. Just they're getting phone calls from people. People are interested in this, and so this is going to be a big thing. I really believe that this could be something that is a legitimate game changer for the Richland School District in terms of bringing students in, retaining students that maybe are leaving to choose other virtual options. Now can come back and have those options available here, and many more. But I think it's really going to be a great thing. I think it's going to be successful in year one, and certainly a couple of years down the road could be not only academically beneficial for our students, but financially beneficial for our district as well. So go ahead.
Is there interest in the Rockbridge building now? It's not in use for the Community 4K?
Yeah, so one of the things, the other alternative education option that we're starting next year is this Behavioral Academy, this kindergarten through grade 4. We have students, neighboring school districts have students where we're right now we don't have the resources available to help them. A lot of times students are autistic, or they're volatile, their behaviors are at a level that is very disruptive in the traditional classroom setting. And right now all the schools are kind of forced to do the same thing, and that's send them to there's a place in Prairie, there's a place in La Crosse, there's a place in Coon Valley, there's a place in Rock Springs. Those four areas are kind of the four around us. The one in La Crosse is a little different. That's a residential, but these places have a very high price tag, right? We're talking $65,000, $75,000, $85,000 to send a student there, plus transportation of getting the student there. That's on the resident district. But really the big thing that we're seeing right now, and neighboring school districts are seeing as well, is there's a 2-year waiting list on some of these things. And so to provide FAPE, free appropriate public education to our students, and having to wait 2 years for them to get the resources that they need is very problematic. It's problematic for everyone. And so we've started this Behavioral Academy. It's called I Thrive Academy unofficially. It's never actually officially been adopted, but the I Thrive Academy is going to be a combination of behavioral therapy, ABA therapy with a licensed board-certified behavioral analyst, as well as an academic component. And we really don't know of any area anywhere around the area that couples both of them together. The folks that I talked to are just mentioned here in Prairie and Coon Valley and Rock Springs, they're academic focused. There are other places that are behavior therapy focused, but they're not academics, and so folks can't send students to those places because they're not a DPI recognized institute. We want to try to mirror those two things together. That is what we're hoping to do at Rockbridge, at the Bethlehem Lutheran Church. We have entered into a lease agreement with them to lease some space. That just happened at our last board meeting, so that's where it's going to be at. And that's going to be, because they're not doing the Community 4K anymore, it's going to open up some space there. That's going to be a great opportunity for these young students to have a place of their own, where they can be safe, we can work on different behaviors, but also provide them with the enrichment and the academic opportunities that they deserve. There is a science, technology, engineering, and math called STEM room that is there that we will have access to. There's an indoor gym that's there. There's a beautifully redone nature trail that Bethlehem Lutheran Church has done for these students to get outside. A brand new playground that's completely enclosed with a fence for safety is going to be available to us. And so we are very excited about partnering with Bethlehem Lutheran Church in order to rent some space at the next school year. We've got it rented right now. We'll have to do a little renovation to this space, and having our I Thrive Academy or our Behavioral Academy out there. And so this has been something I've fielded phone calls from neighboring school districts. We're working with them. We're going to try to have 3 to 5 students this first year. We've likely got a student or 2 of our own, but if we can help out our neighboring school districts and not have a 2-year waiting list and not have students have to be in a van for an hour to get down to Prairie or an hour back, but really get them to make meaningful strides academically and behaviorally, with the whole goal of them being successful in the traditional classroom down the road. So we're excited about it. It's not necessarily going to be a huge moneymaker. Obviously, we have to be fiscally responsible, and we think it's going to be budget neutral. But really, the need that it's going to serve, I think, is going to be huge, not just for the Richland School District, but for our neighboring school districts as well.
We've talked a lot about referendum that passed last year and construction, and I'm guessing that as soon as the school year ends, things are really going to ramp up, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. If you've drove by the primary school lately, you'll see that things are happening down there. The drop trailers down there, there's storage bins being delivered. We're going to be doing a lot of pre-work and getting all the foundation laid, because on June 9th, that Monday, June 9th, students get out on the 4th. Teachers are there until the 5th, and the 9th they're hitting the ground running. And so they've got a slew of people and contractors coming in, doing all sorts of different things, from tearing down those walls on that sinking classroom wing and roof and things there, to installing air conditioning, to lighting, to flooring and ceiling panels, and just renovations galore. So a lot of things will be happening at the primary school. The intermediate school is kind of on a holding pattern right now. All the bids are back. I'll talk about where we're at from a money standpoint here in a little bit. Maybe a little bit of work at the intermediate school as it relates to the outside of the building, the asphalt, bus lanes. We're trying to really make sure that it's safe and that buses and parents and students and drop-off aren't intermixing and crossing traffic. So we have dedicated, segregated areas for that to happen. And then we're just wrapping up the high school design phase right now. We're hoping to go out for bid at the high school here on June 1st or shortly after. So from a money standpoint, we've completed the roof. There was about a $900,000 savings when we did the roof last summer, so that was a positive. The primary school was over budget because of the scope of the classrooms. Went from 2 sinking classrooms to what we found out was 4 sinking classrooms. So there's about a $450,000 overage that will have to come off of that $900,000 savings. So the big key was the intermediate school bids, and those were approved by our Buildings and Transportation Committee in April. They're going to our board for information on Monday, but I'm happy to announce that because we didn't really know where things were at from an inflation standpoint as well as from a tariff standpoint, where construction bids for this intermediate school were going to come back. They came back at roughly $900,000 to the good, under budget, and so that was outstanding. That left us with, or leaves us with, about a $1.4 million to the good. Right now, our board has already committed to upgrading all of our IMCs. Our high school IMC is done. We're working on our IMCs at the primary school and the intermediate school this summer, so that will dip into that. So we're about $750,000 to the good. Obviously, we still have another building to get done, and there's contingencies, and you never know what you're going to get into as you get into the primary school. When you're talking about tearing down walls, certainly things could happen that are unplanned for, and that's what the contingencies are for. But we're optimistic. We know that the scope creep at the high school is getting tight. We've really tried to invest a lot of doing the auditorium the right way with sound and lighting and those things, as well as our technical education spaces and restrooms. So it'll be interesting to see, but we're feeling pretty good about where we're at right now and think that we've done a really good job being fiscally responsible to our stakeholders.
It's kind of the time of year, Steve, when you're looking at hiring and who's staying and who's going, and hopefully most are staying.
Yeah, most are staying. Of course, there's always a few people that have an opportunity that maybe they can move back closer to home, or for whatever the reason is, need to move. Maybe their significant other lives out, somewhere else, and so they've got to leave. So we certainly have had, a fair share of resignations. But I'll tell you, Phil, the thing that I've seen this year is that the application pool that we're getting, the pool of candidates that are applying for jobs, has just raised to another level. Like, we are getting, we've always had good candidates, but not the number of good candidates for each of these positions. And it's been really, really fun to hire this year, because there are oftentimes where we're choosing between two really, really good candidates, right? Whereas before, sometimes maybe got to settle a little bit, or maybe they don't have their license, or maybe they've got to do this or that. And again, a lot of times those all work out as well, but to just have a really good, healthy, and hearty application pool for each of these positions is outstanding. Of course, we've got a Richland Center Intermediate School principal position that we're in the process of hiring for. I think we had 21 applicants for that. Just outstanding applicant pool. We're hoping that maybe we can have something locked up here in the next week or week and a half, and try to get a good new leader at that building as Lisa Brown resigned. So we're looking forward to it. It's a great hire, and we're seeing that people want to be part of our district, both students and families as well as staff, and that's exciting, right? Because it feels like people want to be part of our district, and we're welcome to have them, and we're excited to keep moving forward.
You were in last year with Athletic Director Laura Selgerby, and at the time we talked about name, image, and likeness, which now has passed by the WIA. Have you read up much on that, Steve, or are you much aware of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware that it passed. I've actually got several page document from the WIA. I think it came out last week that I just haven't gotten a chance to read yet. I've got it in my backpack. I'm going to try to take it with me this weekend, and in the middle of Mother's Day activities and others, I'm going to try to read, which, by the way, welcome, happy Mother's Day weekend to all of our families out there. But it's a changing time, isn't it? When we talk about what's happening in the college world, and now filtering down to the high school world. And I'm not opposed to change, right? I tend to be an outside the box thinker, and let's move forward. But this is one I don't really know how it's going to work out, and I don't necessarily know that I believe that it's going to be for the good. Because I think some folks will take it to the extreme, right? And when you take it to the extreme, then you get into a whole messy thing. Now, do I think it'll be nice to not have to worry quite so much about the amateur status and be able to, so many schools get nixed for just little things, right? That they really didn't have any ill intentions for, but they're accepting a check on behalf of the booster club, and they're in their uniform or whatever it is, right? But I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. I hope that they have a little bit better plan in place than the collegiate level did. And that seemed to be the Wild West really quickly. Of course, they've got the transfer portal and all of that in there as well. But I'm hoping we don't come too much like that. But I'm excited to kind of read it. Laura's given me the quick, brief version of it.
Mm-hmm. And the other poll that was going around too is the expansion of basketball, boys and girls basketball in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
In favor or not in favor of that?
I haven't seen how it's all going to. I know that they said that they would need 3 different sites on Wednesday, I believe, if they were going to expand to 8 teams. So if they can do that, and they can still make the fan experience good, I don't believe that 8 teams waters it down or anything like that. We used to have 8 teams in Division I. I was not a favor of having 8 teams in Division I when Divisions 2, 3, and 4 at that time only had 4 teams. I wanted equal representation, and I felt from an attendance standpoint, and certainly from the girls' side, you were getting more folks attending the Division 2, 3, and 4 games than you were the Division I anyway, so why would you want more of those? This is an interesting proposal because you're now expanding it to 8 teams each. You want that fine line between as many students and communities to be able to experience that level, because now you're talking about what would be happening at the sectional final is now at the state tournament.
Right.
Sectional finals to me are the cat's meow. That to me is just the ultimate high school basketball experience. You've got literally 2,000 people in a gym. 1,000 of them are rooting for one team. 1,000 of them are rooting for something else. And the atmosphere and the electricity that's created in those environments. And I know that the Columbus game that the girls were able to participate in, that was a sectional semifinal, but that environment of those sectional finals and that kind of thing, that is something that athletes will never forget, okay? Going to the state tournament is really, really cool, and winning a state championship, although we were never able to do that, is the ultimate goal, right? But the atmosphere at the state tournament is not the same as it is in those sectional finals where you have all of those people confined into one gym. So part of me is a little concerned about, well, I like the opportunity for communities to be able to experience the state tournament and athletes to be able to experience it. Part of me is hoping that we don't lose some of that intimate sectional final atmosphere that is so unique in high school sports, where you just have so many fans and they're lined up at the door when the teams get there. And because to me, that's just as important. And so I'm for it, but I also want to make sure that we try to keep mindful of some of those other things that are equally important to the fans and the community.
Well said. Well, thank you very much. The next time you're in here, you'll be enjoying your summer vacation, right?
Yeah, summer. I don't know if it's a vacation. It'll be a vacation for the kids.
The kids will be away.
But yeah, I think in June we've got something scheduled, so look forward to doing it. And again, just thank you and WRCO and really truly all of the media that we have here in Richland Center, the Observer and Rod and Ben, and covering the school the way they do. You know, from sporting events to other things, school board meetings, things like that, keeping our community informed, showing recognition for our students. This opportunity that I get here to talk to you and our listeners here about the great things that are going on in the district, I truly, genuinely appreciate it, and know that you do it for many school districts, and appreciate that as well.
Oh, good. Sounds good, Steve. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
You bet.
See you
Thank
next month. Steve Board, Superintendent of the Richland District, on today's Morning Show.